Well, hello friends. Today I'm going to show you what a blade looks like before it breaks, if you can catch it in time. Luckily, I have gotten used to the sound a blade makes before it breaks. I know that sounds weird to some of you who have never broken a blade or run a bandsaw mill, but there is a specific sound that I've noticed in my mill. I don't know if anybody else does. You'll hear a little bit like a wah, 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 wah. It's hard to explain. I'm tempted to go ahead and try to rip another board and let this go ahead and break in real time so you can hear it and see it. But what I'm risking right there is the blade could get wrapped up inside here and cut the belts. But I'm going to show you right quick what it looks like. And like I'd mentioned, I could hear that the blade was about to break. It's just a certain noise that you'll hear. But right there, you see that hairline crack? It goes almost halfway. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it goes just about to right in there. But that's where your blades will crack at, in the gullet. Alright, here we go. See if we can get this thing to break. Okay, well, that attempt to break the blade was unfruitful. Let's see how it was cutting with that blade with that crack in it. As you can see, it is still cutting great. So the blade's not dull. Those lines look nice and straight. There's no dipping and diving of the blade. Try to steal another 1.25 inches. I might wind up with 2 boards if I just split that. One thing you have to look at when you're looking at cedar is how many knots are in it. If you watch my swing build video, if you're cutting some of these boards, ripping slats out of them, they're not going to be very strong with all these knots. If I rip slats out of that, it's going to break in half right there. Wherever there's a knot is a weak point in the slat. So you got to be very selective. So this right here will either be like a wide headboard piece, or I don't know. I'll use it for something. But anyway, let's reset and see if we can get this thing to pop on the next cut. Alright, safety glasses on, hearing protection. Let's try it again. If I don't get it to pop this time, I'll put one of these thick slabs back up there and we'll see what we can do. Maybe I'll have to get a little more aggressive on the push. I kind of want this thing to go so y'all can hear it. There we go, friends. We broke her. And what you're hearing now is the idler wheel freewheeling. What that blade did was it went out centrifugally against the inside of the cover. And that wheel quits turning. We'll open it up and have a look. Okay, opening up the blade guard. You see how that belt kind of, you can see the shape of the inside of this. That's where it flew outward and said, and it bent the blade into the shape. You see where it jammed up in that corner there and bent. And you see over here how it went up against the wall there and bent. And then there's your brake. I don't see any belt damage right there. I'm going to turn this one. I don't see any belt damage on here either, so I got lucky. Most of the time, like I mentioned, when you're in the log, that kind of acts as a brake. That blade stops in its tracks, and then this portion of the blade just kind of flies out against the housing. As you can see, it took on the shape of the housing when it rammed up against it. So I got lucky. Some people don't get this lucky. It tears up stuff. All right, friends. Let me push the bandsaw mill back. And there you go. There's the blade stuck in the log, the cant. And these blades are pretty durable. I mean, it just, I don't know, after a while, they just, one thing you got to remember is this blade, over the course of its life, it is bending and unbending. As it goes around the band wheel, it bends essentially. Then it straightens out in the straightaways. It's just the equivalent of me sitting here going bend, unbend, bend, unbend. That's what it does every trip around these two wheels. That bend place is being difficult. Come on, you, get out of there. No, I don't want to go. So what I'll do is I'll get my wedge here. All right, give that wedge a few bumps in there. Open that gap up. And out comes the blade. But there you go. I won't bore you to death with that. That's scrap metal now. But yeah, it didn't, luckily we didn't hurt the mill, and I was able to give you the demonstration there of what happens. But if you know anything about woodland, you know this belt rides loose right there. So that's no big thing. Like I said, it wraps up in here. I saw one guy, it got wrapped and went in behind the wheel and just made a mess for the guy. He had a time getting it out. And the same could go for up here if it decided to fall down in here and slice these blades up. But friends, I'm not going to yap anymore. I'm going to cut this video off. I just wanted to show y'all that. I was out here actively milling, and I thought, this will be a good thing to show my subscribers. Here's some cedar slabs I am setting aside as I mill these cants down. I'm going to try to market these in my area. They're like 1.5 inches thick. They, in my opinion, they would make good sign material, or maybe even a bench top or something. But yeah, so far I'm still happy with this mill, y'all. This is a 2022 model. So I guess it's, what, 3 years old now? Time flies. Let's see how many hours. There's not many hours on this mill. And 124.4 hours. Not many at all. That shows you how little I've used it, but it has been a very good meal, and I'm sure it will continue to be. So if you're on the fence about woodland meals, hey, jump in there. Let me mention this. If any of y'all watched the video where I made these little hangers to hold my lube tank, because the problem was these brackets, when the tank is under the, when this bracket is under load of the water in this tank, these welds fail. A lot of people had that problem. So I made this wooden cradle that would just support the weight. And this is a new tank they sent me under warranty. But the funny thing is, after I made this video a few years back, they used to have rubber bungees that come over too to hold it down, which you don't need that. All I did was made a cradle, and then I put a screw as just a pin in there to keep it from twisting. But the year after I put that video out, and I'm not saying Woodland Mills got that from me, But they started making little rubber grommet lined clamps that go around the tank to hold it on the mill now, so you don't have that problem. I would like to think that they got their inspiration from my video. I'm not going to claim they did, but it was kind of funny that after I put that video out, the next year they started doing that. But anyway, no problem. That means they're always trying to go above and beyond to make things better. So hats off to you, Woodland. I could probably buy those brackets to put on here if I wanted to, but so far what I did is working out. Too, I want to update you right quick. I'm not trying to talk you to death, but you're my subscribers. I feel like you need to know, why have I not put any content out lately? Well, I have been dealing with a hernia, an inguinal hernia, and I dealt with it for like 8 months before I went and got it fixed. You know how men folk are. Oh, it'll be all right, yada, yada, yada. But I finally got to the point where it was bulging, and I had to do something. So it was about the end of the plan year for my insurance. My deductibles was met. It was a good time to have the surgery if I was going to have it. So they was able to get me in before the plan year ended. And we got that hernia fixed. And I'm probably 2 or 3 months post-surgery now. And that's what I've been dealing with, friends. About the 8 months of dealing with that, then the 3 months post here. And I just ain't felt like making content. I haven't been able to really get out and do things. So my apologies to anybody who is wondering what happened to me. I've just been dealing with that and life in general. I don't want to sound like an excuse maker creator that's never putting videos out, but I just had to get that stuff done. Life gets in the way sometimes, friends, and we just have to deal with it. But if you're still here, I appreciate you. I think we're up to about 1,525 or 30 subs. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And I promise I'm going to get back on the wagon. We've got that cabin build that I have yapped about incessantly that I have yet to start. Again, the hernia. I was all on board last year to get started, and then the hernia started. I noticed I had one, and I'm like, oh boy, what next? But since then, I have started working out and trying to take better care of myself. So we'll see how that works out. But friends, that was just an explanation to you of what I've been doing and where I've been. I hope you enjoyed this little episode here of showing you what to expect when a blade breaks. I hope y'all was able to hear that noise. It was kind of like a wow, 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 wow. That is not normal when the blade is not got a crack in it. In my experience, some of the rest of you may have experienced something different, but each and every time, it's probably the 4th blade I've ever broken, it makes that funny noise, that little zing, 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 and you know there's something going on that's about to break. I was really surprised that it made almost 3 cuts after I found it. I was beginning to think I was going to have to put one of these thick slabs down here back on there and finish it off, but luckily y'all got to hear and see it, and luckily there was no damage to my mill. So friends, with that, I'm going to quit yapping. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.